why don't you start by telling me a little bit about what your relationship is to the Richmond Public Library?
Well, I just remember growing up, my family grew up on Clay Street in 1100 Club. My parents were starch educators, and so reading was very important. Academia was also. I remember going to the Rosa Bowser library, and I was telling Ben it was a sanctuary. And it was a place where I started my journey learning how to read, and loving reading, and I guess escaping into reading. I gravitated toward fairy tale stories and the imagination, and it was just a great place to go. It was safe, and it was comfortable. I really didn't connect the name to my family or any of that. It was a place where books, were there. But when segregation, it was a part of how we lived. Our parents kept us safe, and I guess restricted to keep us safe. But when the integration came, and I was able to go down to First Street, I don't know, it was a little, I don't know really how to describe it, but it was like, well, this is what a library looks like, a real library. And it first brought into, I guess, my being the whole concept of segregation and integration. That's when I understood the difference. And it made me sad. It made me very sad, and some anger also. When I was a little boy, and so I started visiting the main library a great deal. But it did, I guess my parents had laid the foundation for us to read and to explore and to be all we could be. But there were still limitations. Even when the library opened to us, there were unspoken segregated things. The water fountains were still, white only, restrooms, things like that. And so you start feeling the wrath of segregation, because even though it was open, you weren't welcome. It wasn't safe like Rosa Bowser's building. It wasn't secure, and there was a difference. And that, I guess, that part made me have some anger. But as I grew up, I visited the library and became familiar. Books make me feel comfortable.
Do you still visit the library today?
Well, I live in Hanover now, and I tend to stay within my comfort zone of going to the Adley branch. They just opened up a new library in Hanover. It's a beautiful building, so I tend to just jump there. I don't come to the city often. I miss the city, but I live out in Hanover. Mm-hmm. Have my bird feeders in my backyard. So that's the life I live now. Mm-hmm. I just don't come to the city.
Yeah. What are your hopes for the future of the Richmond Public Library?
Well, I guess it's twofold. There is a lot of the political atmosphere now is a tendency, some wave, I don't know if it's going to be sustained or not, of being very selective about history, about my history, about the history. And I find that very concerning. Very. There's a movement to negate the contributions of African Americans. There's a movement to, the governor here that we had to go through, what, 4 or 5 revisions on the kids' state standards, because they couldn't get it straight. And history is not something that you make up. It happened, good or bad. It happened.
Yeah.
And to try and cover it up or delete it, I tell you, now I will use the word anger on that. Because my ancestors and a lot of my family members were part of it. Were makers, and just to say that that didn't count, we're right back where we started. So that's, that's kind of how I am now. I'm not sure where this trend is going, but I don't know how you can whitewash what happened and say that it's not important. I guess I have a whole lot of issues with that, because it's real and it's sweeping the country politically. I don't know how that's going to turn out.